What's going on, good people? Welcome back to Mars Day with Mark. It is your host with the most. My name is Mark, aka Mr. Meyer with the Fire, here to take the collective vibe higher. And this is episode 103, the astrology of the week, May 27 until June 3rd. So sit back, relax, and hear the facts. Today, the sun is in Gemini, 6 degrees. New moon still, technically. So you can see the moon in the chart at 17 Gemini. We have Mercury at 4 Gemini. We also have Jupiter at 27 Gemini. We have a whole Gemini stellium. So shout out to the Geminis, man. This is a really powerful time. We got the planet Venus at 21 Aries. Mars is at 18 Leo. Saturn and Neptune are sitting right here at the beginning of Aries, 0 and 1 degree respectively. Uranus is at 27 Taurus, and Pluto is at 3 degrees of Aquarius. North node, and it's also retrograde, by the way, and the north node of the moon is at 23 Pisces. So this is the cool thing about this week, guys. We don't have any ingress action, but we do have, lunation and some things to talk about. So basically at the end of the week on the 3rd, or, next week, you could call it episode 104, we'll have the sun at 13 Gemini. The moon will be in Virgo somewhere in our first quarter phase. Mercury will be up at 19 degrees. Jupiter moves up a degree. Venus moves to 27. Mars moves to 22. Uranus moves up a degree. Basically, everything else is sitting still. So, it's a good week. It's actually a really great week. And life is what you literally make it. So, I'm going to take some time to walk you guys through these alignments, help you relate to these planets. More importantly than anything, I want you to remember that you are a solar system. So, Gemini, which we have a lot of this time, guys, is the twins, right? And I think that's so beautiful. And for this video, I want you to think about me explaining this astrology like explaining your twin. Like this is the sky as it stands this week. But at the same time, how are you standing this week? What are you doing? Where's your sun? Where's your moon? Where's your Mercury? Follow along with your chart when you watch the transits of the planets, because as I give this forecast for the collective, I just have to make the reminder that we are a collective made of individuals. So, for instance, Gemini season is going to be way different for a Gemini rising than it would be for like a Capricorn rising. I mean, and that's just one dimension of the chart. Technically, everybody's going to experience these differently because beyond astrological alignments, we know everybody lives somewhere differently. Everybody has a different profession, a different identity, different relationships, different family. And this stuff is reflected by the chart in some way, shape, or form. I just want you to remember that life goes a little bit beyond astrology, which I think most of us know that. But at the end of the day, the conversation right now with all this Gemini is the power of your mind. And yesterday, I did post a new video, and I'm going to link it down below, talking about the new moon in Gemini that we just had yesterday. We are technically still in the new moon phase as we squeak. So, take some time to think about which house you have Gemini in, where the focus is for the month, which of the 12 houses, what part of your life. New moon, new you, new moon, new goals. I think that's a big thing to think about, is that you can have a new target, a list of targets even, and beyond what you're shooting for, objectively speaking, Gemini has a lot to do with the conversation we have with ourselves. When I say mind, I could talk about everything you're perceiving, but also how you choose to perceive. Also how you choose to dictate and narrate and speak, how you choose to think. You ever heard the question or the phrase, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it still make a sound? It's an interesting thought, because you wouldn't be able to hear it. As far as my reasoning goes, I'm going to tell you guys what I think. I think if you weren't there to hear it, I think the tree would still make a sound, because as far as I understand, sound is vibration. The tree's probably going to still vibrate when it falls. But my point is this. So when you think a thought and you don't verbalize it, does it still have energy? Oh, yeah, it does. I mean, how many of us have experienced a really negative thought loop, or maybe just been in like a baseline energy and got really excited over something that they were thinking about. I'm sure we've all had like a cool idea. So let me just say this, that the Gemini energy is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is our perception and our focus. It rules Gemini and Virgo. And I'm going to repeat, perception and focus, respectively. Perception being more Gemini, focus being more Virgo. And they do kind of go hand in hand. You know, where's the frame, where's the picture, etc. So we have to start to think about this month. What are we perceiving? How are we communicating with the environment? How are we communicating with others? And because everything's energy, I say this basically every time Mercury goes retrograde, but it's like Mercury season with it being super Gemini right now. It's so worth the time to clean up your mind. And on top of your mind, your home, your environment, your car, everything around you, because so within, so without. But more specifically, so without, so within. So if you are surrounded by clutter and chaos, your mind usually is the same way. But anyway, more importantly, this might be one of the last things I want to say about Gemini before we move past it, is that this is about the stories that we tell ourselves. It's about narration. And positive affirmation is something that almost everybody's aware of. Like, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you understand that this is a tool, it's a lever you can press, and that people are pressing it. And I think people are using this lever to varying degrees. But what I've been thinking about lately is that basically everybody is using affirmation, whether they think they are or not. You know, because language is basically a tool to describe experience and thoughts, and every one of us is trying to make some form of sense of our life for varying reasons. And that just says to me that, you know, everybody thinks. I hope. I don't know if that's true, but I feel it in my gizzard. Could be wrong. So if everybody's thinking, everybody's trying to use their logic and their words in some form or fashion to basically make sense of experience. So whether we verbalize the words or not, whether the tree falls down for people to hear, I think it's still falling. I think we still have thoughts. Just my idea. Could be wrong, is what I'm trying to say. So the point being that be careful, be conscious of how you think, be conscious of how you choose to speak, choose to speak powerfully and intentionally. Let me just say this. Pardon me. How about, let me let you say this. How about you repeat after me? Verbally, every word I speak creates my best life. Every word I speak leads me towards my desired outcome. I like that one a little better. Every word I speak leads me to my desired outcome. Every word I speak leads me to my desired outcome. And don't forget to hammer on the I am affirmations too, because identity is a very powerful tool. Because you are smart, you are beautiful, you're kind, etc. But it feels so much better to come from yourself and say, I am smart, I am beautiful, I am capable of anything, I can do anything I put my mind to. Ooh, woo. Okay, so anyway, guys, check your transits and just know, with this being a Mercury Gemini week and a Gemini Sun week, the focus is going to be a little bit more undefined. Okay, before we get into other personal planets, I just want you to know Gemini is mutable, it's air, it's dual. So, you know, while you may want to try to focus on some of this stuff, Gemini needs fluidity and flow and variety. And that's going to be basically coming through the sun, Mercury, Jupiter, and even the moon for a little bit too. I mean, and technically the moon all week, because it's the lunation too, the new moon. We're going to take this new moon energy in Gemini for like the whole month. But I digress. So, you know, I feel we are striving for balance between, you know, focus and spontaneity. I think simplification is key. And then also having a list or two can help you expand the frame of reference so you can pivot and have some motion as well. Anyway, Sun square, semi-square to Venus right now. I don't know if I want to go too deep into the minutia as far as this week goes. Well, hey, we do have the Sun traveling semi-square to Venus, actually looks like all week. Yeah, okay, so that's worth getting into. So the Sun semi-square to Venus, you'll see this angle not that let me say no double negatives. You'll see this pretty often. Even people born under this sign, it's not that uncommon. Sun Venus semi-square. I mean, and basically what this says is that life is as beautiful as you make it. You know, it's as hard as you let it be. Love is beautiful, and keep loving on yourself. You know, find new ways to love yourself, and don't let your expectations of life really cut into the joy and the beauty of the moment, because things could always be better. The grass could always be greener on the other side, man. And this is kind of the vibe of the week. I'm gonna run this back too, just to kind of see how long has this angle been tracked. Yeah, we've had this like for the last, oh my goodness, like 3 4 weeks. So that's the conversation this week too, guys. Is count your blessings, focus on what you want in this life. Stop focusing on what you don't fucking want, because then you can get more of it. And I like to tell stories to paint pictures too, guys. Like I could even give an example of like the gym, studying, a relationship, basically every part of your life, man. You know, growth hurts. No pain, no gain. So let's say that this Sun Venus thing this week played out in a relationship. You know, I could even take it there. You know, this would feel like, you know, a true want to be in romance, a desire for love and connection, all that Venus stuff for beauty. But at the same time, it's self validating, the sun. It's self justifying, you know, it's self indulgent as well. So there's this energy of looking for more, wanting more, more approval. And frankly, usually it is an inability to see the worth in the self or the moment. You know, so in a relationship, things could be really good in a relationship, but you may kind of feel disconnected. You may even feel like you're not being seen, or people are just not spending enough attention or time on you. Another thing, like let's say this was in the gym, you know, you could be focused like the last one, you focusing on what you don't want. If you're in the gym working on yourself and your body, you know, you're objectively getting healthier and stronger, which is what you're doing. But let's say the focus was on everybody else in the gym that's stronger than you, everybody else who seems to be doing better. What if your focus was on the insecurities you have or the pain that you're feeling in the gym as opposed to the growth? You know, it's perspective being so key, guys. Okay. It's like rather than looking at a lack of resources in your life, look at the opportunity to be resourceful and look at the blessings you have right now. Look at the abundance you already have so you can attract more of it. Okay. So that's Sun Venus. I could go on and on for this one, but it just says, you know, self indulgence and love yourself, and listen to your own reasoning and values. Okay. So Mercury, Gemini, this week, keep the mind fluid. Okay, no, actually, I'm gonna back up because that's sun. Let's go to moon. Let's just keep it concise. So, as far as the moon goes, guys, just know we just had the new moon in the sign of Gemini. So, basically, that's just meaning the moon is gonna wax all week. No Karate Kid. So, what's that mean? It's growth, it's masculine energy. It means put your dick in the dirt, it means get after it. Jabroni, take action. Like, before you do any of that shit, Gangy, figure out what you want. Like, no use spinning your wheels and just running around with no fucking reason. You know, I, by the way, have Gemini in my 10th. So this month is a lot about execution for me and figuring out what things I want to literally do. So if I'm coming at y'all more entrepreneurial, that's why. But frankly, that's the order of operations before you start fucking around. It's like, if you really want to be in pursuit of the path, you have to figure out which one you're going to take first and foremost. So goals are also something you can do very flexibly and fluid. And I think that's where our conversation goes, is that, you know, you could, of course, make a list of goals for this new moon in Gemini to the new moon in Cancer. Maybe a list of like 3 to 5 goals, maybe, you know, no more than 10 is probably a good idea. Because, like, that's a lot of things to do in a month. But, and the thought I had the other day too was like, time frames are so important. So yeah, you could maybe do it based on the month. You could do it based on the week. You could do it based on new moon to full moon, which is like 2 weeks. Or, you know, each new moon, you could also consider what your yearly objectives are, because people usually wait till New Year's to really consider, what do I want to do within a whole year long time span. And I was just thinking about, because I was reflecting, by the way, this is where this idea comes from, is like, you know, on my pattern of following the lunation cycle and setting certain goals. Like when I connect to the energy of the moon and I maybe make 3 goals, for example, they might be really powerful goals I need, and maybe it takes me longer than a month to do it, you know? And I find if your desire hasn't changed, why switch the goal? So it's just something to think about is that life can be genuinely so simple if you literally just decide what you want, go after it, and feel good about it. Everything else is like commentary. Okay. So, anyway, check your natal moon for the course of this week because, the moon is going to be going through Gemini, crossing over Jupiter. It's going to be making a conjunction with Mars and then hitting that basically first quarter. And around the first quarter, so around Tuesday or so next week, we might be revising month-long goals and making some changes within our life, adjustments to the path and the pursuit. So, the moon's going to make freaky aspects with the rest of the planets and more importantly, your planets. So that's why I'm telling you to check your chart. And if you don't really know about your astrology or if you've been dying to get deeper into it, hit the link down below and grab Simplified Astrology. I can either send you my book or you can walk through the videos at your own pace, okay? So we also have Venus. Let's get into this now. Close the rest of these planets off. The solar system is really cool, guys. And 2025 is really one of the more active years for astrology. And especially this part of the year, things are speeding up, guys, because I don't know if you've been following this series, and I hope you decide to. So hit the subscribe if you haven't already, so you can get notified. Within the last couple months, we had really strong eclipses. We had Venus retrograde ending. We had Mars getting out of a really long, debilitated period. We had Jupiter. Oh, I'm sorry. We have Saturn switching signs and Neptune switching signs. And that's like right now, powerful full moons along the way, Mercury retrograde, things like that. And then now we're going to have, we just had Saturn switch signs too. Jupiter's about to switch in a couple weeks. Uranus is going to switch. Pluto switched last year. All of this is happening while the North Node is in Pisces. So I feel like there's something, of course, we're making outer planetary alignments, which really marks the beginning of certain eras. But on the smaller time frame with this North Node in Pisces, it really is this magical time where the universe, which connects all of us, is asking, do you see me? And you're like, who the fuck said that? I can't say if the universe or God is a he, she, or a it. I mean, if you wanted my opinion, take it with salt. God's probably a black woman, but at the end of the day, this universe connects us all. This web is universal. And each of us takes up a strand on this web. Universe is saying, yo, do you see me? Do you hear me? Do you know that I'm here? Do you know that we're in a relationship? Are you willing to co-create? How much do you trust me? And how much do you trust yourself? Do you hear the call? Are you answering the call? Because I might sound like I'm building this backwards, but frankly, fuck it. It's my show. Mars Day with Mark. North Node in Pisces is what I'm wanting to get into, guys. The message really is to chase your dreams. Spend enough time in solitude to really understand that this is a blank canvas for you. There may be certain things outside of your control, true, but within your parameter, you are the artist, you are the architect. So what are you going to build? What are you going to do? Fam, you can conjure almost anything in this world with enough belief, faith, will, time, persistence. Almost everything you see around you once came from the mind and the imagination. So that's the beautiful thing about Pisces energy, the waters we come from. It seems to me that many people have a dream. They have a sense, a knowingness, maybe an image, maybe it's a full vivid dream, but something within them that they want to experience. And I'm here to confirm to you, you're meant to go after it. It's not just there for entertainment or to taunt you. It's actually something that the universe, because you have to think about us being a web again, this quantum energy is we all one. These ideas need to be implemented at some point. You're receiving something collectively. And if you don't want to do it, somebody will do it eventually. You ever had like a really genius idea and then like later on you see it? It's like that person didn't take your idea. That idea just is there and you just have to be ready to execute on something. Like, for instance, guys, I bought Simplified Astrology like years before I actually made the website because it made sense to me. I was like, I know what route I'm gonna go. I didn't really feel ready for it, but I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna go buy the domain name because I know where I want to go. I'm getting ready, you know. It's just a slight example, but at the same time, I also feel called to say that somebody listening may need to buy a domain name and think about, their future before Uranus goes into Gemini for the next 7 years and we're spending more and more time on the internet. Use this internet for your benefit. All right, gangy. Let's go through the rest of these planets though, because that's the North Node. That's really the focus. I had to really drive the focus to your dreams. Whatever you want to manifest, if it doesn't harm anybody, you're likely to be able to achieve it and perhaps maybe even get help from the universe, especially if it's not harming. And even better if it helps. Shit, man. People love to, see progress. So anyway, Venus and Aries. Venus is love and relationships, and it's fiery. I think a lot of people are in heat right now, man. Just how I'm seeing it. This is passion ignited. This is self-indulgent as well. Venus doesn't really do well here, fam. I'm gonna be honest. It's cool. It sounds cool to have Venus in Aries, and it is cool. Frankly, there's no bad placements in astrology, but Venus is a Libra thing. It's about balance and reciprocity and peace. And Aries doesn't give a fuck about that. It says, what about me? What about me getting what I want? What about bitch? Fuck you. No, don't ask me for shit. That's how Aries Venus kind of is. It's like on to the next one. Venus in Aries is self love on a more beautiful, flowery note. It's self love. It's like I'm gonna love me. I'm gonna take me to a deeper level in my love journey. When it's like, do I want a relationship? Maybe if I can do what I want. It's like, do I want a boyfriend or girlfriend? It's like, no, maybe I want a few of them. It's like Venus Aries does what it wants, frankly. And I will say that's really cool. And there's something very ennobling about doing what you genuinely want because, like, a lot of people in this life are frauds. And I'm not trying to be negative. And frankly, we could all flip the camera back on ourselves and be like, in which way am I fraudulent? Am I not abiding by my own values and doing what I understand? Because this puts up a spectrum of possibilities in relationships. Are you receiving what you give? Are you giving what you receive? Getting personal when it comes to love and indulgence with restraint, because like hedonism and asceticism, they're like complete opposites of the spectrum. Do you want to choose pleasure over pain, or do you want to choose pain over pleasure? And I feel like you can take those both into extremes. The answer may lie somewhere in the middle. There's benefits of both. I feel like the worst thing is to not try either asceticism or hedonism. That's just my 2 cents, man. I hope somebody's empowered by my messages, because frankly, I'm just here to, kind of talk. Indulge with restraint is what I'm trying to say with Aries Venus. Like, make it make sense. Okay. But anyway, Mars is up in Leo. Mars is what we do. Mars is how we act. Leo is bold. It's big. You may feel more creative, especially with this trine out here right now. I see a lust for life. I see joy. It feels fun. Leo energy is creative, so I hope that you're finding some way to express yourself. I've been learning to express myself more through my videos and even like dancing and singing. I'm making more music lately. I'm loving this energy. I am a Leo, by the way. I think it shows. But anyway, we talked the fuck about Jupiter. We talked a lot about Jupiter and Gemini and all this other energy. So the last thing I really want to focus on is Saturn's energy and then basically Pluto, because these two kind of go hand in hand. I mean, you could really wrap everything together, but Saturn's in Aries for the next 2 to 3 years. So this time we're in right now, guys, is really a shift. Right around the time of this new moon, Saturn was in the new sign. So we're brushing in, we're ushering in, and we're bringing in. I almost said I made up a word or something. We're bringing and ushering in a new energy, a new paradigm, basically. Saturn is about the structure of your life and it's the work that you do. And then Aries is about you. This is personal. It's about, taking your will and building some discipline within it, structuring your life in a more independent way, being a leader, in your life and then being a leader in the world. And hey, it's going to take some self work. Saturn in Pisces was a very deep and mystical experience. And frankly, it was hard for a lot of us. It was isolating. But at the same time, it might have been demystifying for some. So when I think about Saturn and Aries being the conversation for the next 3 years, I feel like self mastery is going to be the conversation and people really taking the time to work on themselves. And that's going to be beautiful. The rewards may be primarily internal, but at the same time, this will bring a new freedom and depth and presence to everybody's life as well. So I would just say, like, hopefully, my people out here who are conscious of astrology and working with these energies, this Saturn Aries energy will make you feel more free. It'll make you feel more in control of your life. But at worst, and I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you guys, Saturn and Aries is like feeling like the world is against you. Aries is the temple, it's the I am. This has a lot to do with working on identity. This has a lot, frankly. And this is one thing that, like, I can only speak for myself. So I'm telling you guys, this next point I am working on a lot. I know this is a Saturn Aries thing, but impulse control. I feel like, frankly, impulse control is something that everybody has a relationship with in their life. And that spectrum can get wide. Your relationship with that determines a lot in your life. How much can you control your impulses? Frankly, I'm probably not the best at it. I'm not the worst at it, but I think this becomes the focus. So Saturn will go through a different part of everybody's chart. So take the time to really reflect and think about, how do I master myself? And then deeper than that, man, get off your ass and do it. Frankly, I think sometimes we can reflect too much. And Aries is about that action, about doing things, about getting it done, about stepping into action, going first, not hesitating. And with Pluto in Aquarius, guys, I feel like the more we lean into that, the better the world is for us and everybody involved. Truly. Having a sense of community, you have to involve yourself somehow in the world. So just remember, united we rise, divided we fall. We can do way more in a group than we can individually. So I think everybody really does have very important roles to play in these times that we're living in. And all that's required is that you do your best. So last couple things I want to speak on is the ongoing square between Lilith and Pluto. And this has already kind of began to separate. Lilith moves faster than Pluto. So you see Lilith is at 6 Scorpio, Pluto's at 3 Aquarius. So already breaking out of it. But, the conversation for many of us has been releasing really deep emotions and getting more in touch with our shadow side and more intense desires. Learning to truly embrace the self and the independent path, but then you have to start to divide and build up those guide rails and create those principles, or, just create wisdom sometimes through embodied experience. Sometimes you're breaking new ground. Speaking on Aries energy, which I think is a big part of all of these, alignments we're going through. Sometimes breaking new ground means you're not actually on the map, So as much knowledge and theory as you can attain, it may or may not apply when it's time to fly, So that's why I just say it's always good to do your best. And some say it's required and ethical to do your best, frankly. But just by showing up fully, doing the thing that you're obligated to do, and then even going beyond so you can test your limits and see, that can be a great mindset. You don't just do what's required, and I've said a lot and it's been fun. It's been real. And I'm going to bring it full circle so you can really just feel this energy a little bit deeper. But happy Gemini season. What do you think? And how do you converse with yourself? What type of person are you? What's your mindset? Like, how are you the type of person that just kind of goes through life willy-nilly, drifting in the backseat or passenger seat of their own car, letting something else drive you? Or are you a driven person? Do you know what you want? Are you determined to get it? Are you a person that is average in effort and mentality? Or are you great in mentality and effort? Are you superior in mentality and effort? Are you a leader? I don't have the answer to these questions, but I feel like we're thinking in the right direction, you know? And if we can, because I don't remember who said it, it might have been Ralph, but if it's not Ralph, I'll take credit. But a man or woman or a non binary person, they are what they think about all day. So if we can obsess over thoughts of greatness, it would make sense that our actions would lead towards greatness as well. Perfection doesn't exist. There's only personal excellence. So let's get to it, gangy. I love you. Fire family, stay lit.